Let's take a look at this week's Fusion 360 challenge. The project that we're going to be doing is doing a little flashlight made of a couple parts. So we've got a lens at the front, a couple buttons on top, and a real basic body for the flashlight. It looks like a tough project, but really it's quite simple. And we haven't put any of the guts inside of the flashlight. If I take a look at the orthographic drawing I've got, we can see the flashlight's dimensions. So it's total of 34 millimeter diameter at the back on the handle part and 50 at the front. You can see the positioning of the buttons, and you can see the positioning and size of that lens at the front. Really easy to break this down. First thing I'm going to draw is just the basic shape and revolve it. So in order to revolve, I would just draw half of the flashlight. So I'll bump back and forth here so we can do this. So first thing, I'm going to come create a new sketch, so you can see the sketch on there. And I'm going to draw a line longer than the flashlight. So flashlight's 141, so I'm going to draw a line longer than 141. Or I could just draw it 141. So there's 141. There is the start of my flashlight. Now I'm only drawing half of the flashlight because I'm going to revolve the shape. So we'll start with the back of the handle. So we've got a piece that is 28 millimeters and then another that's 34 with a little taper in between. So I'll come over here. If I come up, it's going to be half of 28. So that would be 14. And then our next one, I'm going to go line again. Now, I'm not going to be too specific on this line because I'm going to change the dimensions for it later. But I am going to go back here. So I know that the end of this line should be 34, which is 17 would be our half. So if I come here and I go create dimensions from here to here, that should be 17. And if I look at the drawing, from here to here, that little taper should be 5.2. So if I bump in here again, D for dimension, from there to there, 5.2. And you can see there's my taper starting to show up. Back to the drawing. So I know that this, from the end point to this point here, is 120. So let's come back. We're going to draw a line from here, 120. But the problem is that we've got that 5.2. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to say 120 minus 5.2. And that's going to put in the dimension as we wanted. I could have made this a parameter, but for the sake of doing this relatively quickly, I'm leaving it out as a parameter, and this is going to be a fixed size model. Alright, so then the next one, we've got another taper, and now this taper doesn't have a dimension, but we know that it's 5 mils, well, because 120, 125, so we know we've got a 5 mil difference here, and it's going to go to 50 mils. Alright, so if we come back here, we'll just draw that line up, like so. And we'll draw another line out to the end. So there's the end of our flashlight. We'll go D for dimension. I'm going to go from there to there. We know this is 50 mil. We have to divide that in half because it's that diameter. Here's our radius. We know from here to here it should be 5 mils. So I hit 5. And that pretty much settles the dimensions there. So we're ended up with this sketch of a basic flashlight. If I go finish sketch now, I can take this and revolve it. So I've got my revolve tool, click on that. By default, it's already picked the profile. So then I just need to go to axis, select the axis, and go OK. And that leaves us with this basic shell for our flashlight. Now the next thing is we do need to make this a shell. We need to cut it out on the inside. So up here I've got the shell tool. If I click on that, it's asking, okay, face, body, this is to remove something. So if I click on that, it's going to remove that front face. And I'm going to set my thickness to 2 millimeters. Good size for plastic. I click OK, and that gives me this hollow cutout for the flashlight. The next thing I want to do is create that lens for the front. So to do that, I want to create a new sketch. Up on the front. So now I'm looking straight at it. Then I'm going to go create, project include, project, and steal the dimensions from, or geometry from here. By clicking on that, it's going to make a line. I click OK, and you can see how there's a purple line showing up. That's all I wanted. Finish sketch, and we can go extrude again. Click on that inside piece, and the lens is going to be 3 mil. Now, we're probably going to have to go -3 to make it go in. Right now, this lens is going to join the bodies together. We don't want to do that. We want to create a new component and go okay. So now they're 2 separate pieces. Something new that we haven't done before. I can right click on this, go to appearance, and I can pick an appearance that I want it to be. Now, I'm going to be going to, sorry, I've got this all open already, but plastic. I'm going to go to transparent, and we're just going to make it amber. I drag it over, put it on top, and you'll see that that lens changes. So now we've got that nice colored lens. Close appearance, and we can move on to the next steps, which is those buttons at the top. So if we take a look at our drawings again, we've got the buttons 3 mils above the outside here. Now we have to do a little bit of math again, because the work plane that those are going to be on would be half of this, so 14 plus 3, so it's 17. So if I come back here, I turn on my origin again so I can see it. Like in the last tutorial, we're going to make an offset plane, so construct offset plane. Click on here, and we're going to bring that up 17. So now we've got this new plane. We can click on the plane, we can drag it, make it bigger. We don't actually have to do that, but I'm choosing to. And now I can create a sketch on that plane. So we're going to come in here. I'm going to go create, project include, project again. And I'm going to project this base of my flashlight, the handle. And you'll see that just a line here shows up, but that's going to be enough to work from. The next thing is I'm going to create a line from the midpoint. So you see how that triangle is showing up there? That's my midpoint, and I'm just going to make that out the back. I hit the escape key to finish it, so I end up with just a perpendicular line from the midpoint. So you can see the triangle and the the triangle and the perpendicular indicator sitting right behind it. If we come look at that drawing again, you can see here at the top, we've got 2 arcs at the end. So this arc here, which is the end of our thing, is 30 mils with a diameter of 13. So what we're going to do is come in here, we're going to draw a circle with a diameter of 13, and we're going to go create sketch dimensions, and we're going to dimension that 30 mil. Complete fluke that that was 30 mil, but just type in 30 anyway, so we know that we've got 30 mil there. Going to go to the line tool, and we're going to make a line from here to here, from here over to here. Now that bottom one turned black because the perpendicular constraint came on. The top one is still blue, and that's telling me that this is probably not perpendicular. So I can come up here, grab that constraint, and say I want that perpendicular to that. Now it's black. I can also use the trim tool to trim out the other bits of the line that I don't want. So that's giving me the little button holder. Finish that sketch, and we'll turn it around so you can see. So it's just slightly above our handle. So now what I can do is go to extrude, grab my pieces and we're going to extrude them down into our piece. But what we want to do for distance, instead of distance, we're going to go to Object, click on the handle, and you'll see that some stuff came up. That's all good. And we're just going to go OK. And there is the recess for our buttons. Now it looks a little different than the one in the drawing, but that's okay. We'll create another sketch on top of here. We're going to create two circles. Now the first circle should be at the center point of this arc. And you'll see as I move over that that circle shows up. That's telling me the center point. And we'll just double check that that button needs to be 10 mils. Alright, so circle. And we're going to make a 10 mil button. And we'll come in and we'll come back over here and we'll make another 10 mil button. So I've got my two buttons. We'll check the drawing. It looks like that second button is 15 mil from the edge. So I can go create dimension, and from here to here should be 15 mil, which it is. Again, I'm just magic today, I guess. So I've got my two circles. All good. So we're going to go finish sketch, take those two circles, and we are going to extrude them. So I'll go to extrude, and click on one, click on the other. We'll check the drawing. It looks like those two circles should be protruding by 2 millimeters. And we'll come back here, extrude that one, and that one by 2 mils. We click OK. And I realized there I made a mistake. I let those join. So I'm going to come back, right click on here, edit feature, and I'm just going to turn them into a new body. Alright, so from there I can right click again. Let's try that again. Right click, I'm looking for appearance. Cancel, go away. Alright, appearance, and we can find another thing, color for it. So I'm just going to go back. Let's make these matte blue. So I'll make one green, just have it play. So I've got two different colors there that I'm working with. We'll close that down so you can see the flashlight. Essentially that's the flashlight. Now you can add some extra features like fillets. We'll do fillet both sides. That went a little funny. Try that again. So fillet there, and there we'll just do that 1 mil. Just give it a bit of a look. You could add another fillet onto those buttons, and we'll make those 1 mil as well. And that gives you a bit of a nicer flashlight. But essentially that's it. That is the basic flashlight. So you'll have an image of another flashlight with similar dimensions that you can try to make.